In this corner, the vocal titan who provides the moments and maybe some yucks, Grant Patrizio. And in the other and in this corner, the chief of baked goods, the one, the only, Senor Donut. Woo, yeah! And together we form the Super Banter Brothers.
Others.
Man, we have so much fun here. How you doing, dude?
Doing good, brother. Doing good. How have you been? How's the weekend?
The weekend was good. Had a little stream because in the game that I am still obsessed with, and I'm going to be obsessed with for at least another year and a half, Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. There
Fuck
was.
that game, by the way.
Excuse
And
you.
I'll explain it. I'll explain it, but keep on going, please.
I was just gonna say that there was a festival commemorating the inclusion of Vocaloid superstar Hatsune Miku. So I had a Sudden Sunday Supersonic stream. That's a lot of S's. I had
Say
a
that
special.
5 times fast.
I can barely remember what I said a few seconds ago. Good luck. Anyway, I had a surprise stream with that. There was a festival for it. It was a lot of fun. You showed up. A few other lovely people showed up. I unlocked things. It was fun. I finally started slowly kicking my fear of Yon Hallows Eve by starting to, Chosen Sister knows how to get me to break some new ground on that by not focusing on the jack-o'-lanterns, the witches, the mummies, the all that stuff, and basically treat it like I'm decorating my house for fall. And
Okay.
I got a few small things to spruce up the kitchen. That's where I'm starting, and it's like, hey, this wasn't so bad. If I could keep it to fall and maybe put a bowl of candy out for the kids while I do my own thing and just
Put a bowl of candy out for the kids like they're dogs coming to your door.
I mean, kinda like. Hey, I just because I don't like to engage in Halloween doesn't mean I'm gonna be Halloween humbug forever, and that's the point. We're breaking me.
Quote Grant, fuck them kids.
I did not say that. Do not put false quotes in my mouth, sir. Do not do that, please.
I'm sorry.
Anyway,
It's sorry.
He kids. Anyway, but yeah, that was my Saturday. Friday, spent it with the boyfriend. It's all good. How was yours?
Nice. Mine was just not great. It wasn't great, but hey, it's fine because you know what? We're here right now, right here to record a special episode of our podcast,
Yes.
the Super Banter Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
But first, we're going to start this podcast like we do every podcast. What have you been playing? On stream, off stream?
Well, I already said the blue hedgehog in the room, so I'm not going to go back there. The other game I have been streaming, thanks to you and your help from a previous recording, that shout out I asked for, Kingdom Hearts 2. That streaming series has finally gotten its legs again, and it's getting easier and easier with each stream. It's so much fun to revisit that game as a Disney fan who Kingdom Hearts converted me to being a Final Fantasy fan because that's how I got into it. Those are the main games that I have been playing on stream. Off stream, more Sonic Racing because I'm just that crazy.
1 second, please. Let me interject here. You said that Kingdom Hearts. You said that Kingdom Hearts is the thing that got you into Final Fantasy, correct?
That's correct.
What Final Fantasy games have you played?
I have pieced my way to about, I want to say, maybe the halfway point. If we use the remake trilogy as a storytelling barometer, because I've beaten both games and Integrate in the 7 remake trilogy. I've gotten to about, I want to say halfway through remake part 2. that part of the
Okay.
story in the original Final Fantasy VII.
Okay, so
Again,
you are playing the original Final Fantasy VII.
yes, I'm playing
Okay.
the original, but the remake, I've been going through that much quicker. I did Stranger in Paradise, Final Fantasy 15, Final Fantasy 16, and boyfriend and I are kind of hooked. Boyfriend more than me, but we have a file together that we call the characters our little babies, and I think
Mm.
it's 12 Zodiac Age.
Yes.
Yes, we played through that one together, and I remember trying Final Fantasy 13 at a former friend's house ages ago, like over a decade ago at this point. It was before I moved
Mhm.
to Southern California. And yeah, for some reason could not get behind that one.
Mm,
But
mm.
one game I do want to try eventually, again, because of the Kingdom Hearts connection, is I believe it's 8, where Leon
Squall.
slash Squall. Yes.
Yes.
Um,
So 8 is one of those that you have to play.
okay.
9 is another that you kinda have to play. It's not related to Kingdom Hearts that I am aware of. I don't
Does it
recall.
is 9 or
I'm
10
trying
the
to
one with
think.
Tidus in it?
That's 10.
Okay, so 10 is definitely one I have to play because
And then there's, 10-2, which is Pretty Dress Up Girl.
oh
Um
goodness.
I mean, you think that I'm joking with it, but it's still a very good entry into the series because it's a sequel to 10. It's a sequel
Right.
to 10, which is why it's called 10 too. But it's very good. Like I recall playing it back in the day when it came out, and I was a little bit like, "Oh, this is very very different comparatively to what I was doing." So yeah.
Hmm.
Um but I know that this one um doesn't tie into Kingdom Hearts really, but Final Fantasy 4 US and Final Fantasy 4 and 6 Japan, which is 2 and 3 US, were games on the SNES that I highly recommend you play.
Okay. So adding to the Final Fantasy backlog, I've got 8, 10, 10, 2, and then using the US numbering system 2 and 3.
That is correct.
I have a lot of work to do. Anyway, I have a lot of work to do. As a Kingdom Hearts fan that needs to connect to all of the Kingdom Hearts related Final Fantasy dots. Um, but yeah, that it was the Disney characters and their reinterpretations that got me into it. And it's like, oh wow, these other characters that look kind of like Sora are also pretty cool. Oh right, that's the Final Fantasy side of things. I should try those. Eventually tries a few. Um, but yeah, other than that, off stream, it's just been some mobile games. Mostly Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links because they
Mm,
finally added more content to the like Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters section of that game, which is one of the two shows that I grew up on.
yeah.
And apparently they are using Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links to drop connective lore for the entire Yu-Gi-Oh! Franchise.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn.
I didn't know they were doing that either, but it's actually kind of smart considering those shows are not in production anymore. But
Yeah.
but also just it's fun to see that. Speaking of fun to see, that's a tango. I didn't know if you could hear it meowing, but
I couldn't hear him meowing, but I saw Tango enter and I was like, "Oh, here comes the cat." And there goes Grant trying to pick up the cat, and the cat's like, "Fuck this, I'm out."
pretty much. And now he is sniffing a bag on the floor just behind me. If
Cat's
you're
gonna cat.
cats are gonna cat. He has a ladder
Mhm.
going up to the top of my voiceover booth, which is just his little nest, but he barely uses it. Again, cat's gonna cat. I built that specially for him, but cat's gonna cat.
Cats are gonna cat.
But what about you,
100%.
Donut? What have you been playing?
I've been well, okay, so let me get back to my point where I
Right, the
interrupted
Sonic.
you beforehand.
The Sonic Racing point, yes.
Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. The reason being, I don't own this game. I haven't played. I played the demo, and that was it. I played maybe 30 minutes of this demo. Okay,
Right?
had fun. It was a good game. Not like I only played like 30 minutes. So I'm not like, delivering like, yes, this is the game that saved racing games or whatever. What
Right.
I am saying is I have seen others stream it, right? I've seen you stream it. I've seen members of my stream team stream it.
Mhm.
And the one thing that I can't fucking get out of my head, Sonic Racing, ba, 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 da, ba, ba. Fucking song is stuck in my head, man. It's
That's the
stuck there.
point.
I can't. Like, I'm like fucking taking a shit, right? And all of a sudden,
Sonic Racing all
like,
around the
seriously? Oh my
world.
god. I can't even. I can't get away from it. I'm, like, listening to other music that's not even related to it, and that song just randomly comes into my head. And
You
I
might even
just
say it races through your mind.
you stop with that, sir. Stop with that. Jesus.
Ah,
Anyways, that's
I
the
mean,
reason.
if you're mad at an earworm, that entire soundtrack is gonna piss you off because
I know, right?
most of it is just solid bangers. Like that
Oh man.
workout music for days coming from that soundtrack. Workout music for days.
Oh, yeah, no, like, you're pressuring me to get it. Another streamer friend is like, "Dude, you should get this game. It's really good." And I'm like thinking to myself, I got a Switch 2 and I got Mario Kart World, right?
Right?
And when it came out, it was fun. It was good racing times, right? And then Sonic Racing came out. Didn't come out on the Switch 2. Not yet, right? And I'm
There is
thinking
a
to myself,
Switch 1 version you
there
can get
is.
with the free digital upgrade path early next year, I think.
Sh Yes, but big Nintendo's fucking terrified of Sonic Racing.
Of course they are.
Terrified of it because it is, for all intents and purposes, much better than Mario Kart World.
I
Everybody I've
mean,
spoken to, everybody says that this game is better than Mario Kart. And when that happens, come on, you just can't. You can't. Like, Nintendo's running scared, and they should be because Sonic Racing, fantastic game from what I've played, which is like 30 minutes, but you and other streamers around the crossover world have played this game and believe that it is one of the best Sonic racing slash just racing in general games. So, that's crazy.
it honestly kind of and the way Sega marketed it was actually genius online. They redid or they made a commercial for Sonic Racing comparing it to other kart racers, which we all know that one is, in
I
the
know.
style of their old advertisements from yon console war days from when Sega and Nintendo went at each other's throats over Mario and Sonic games. And the internet
Mhm.
saw that and were just like, "Oh, Sega is so back."
Sega's like, "Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years."
Pretty much. And Sonic's just sitting there wagging his finger, being like, "You're too slow to realize it." It's I don't know. When I play a kart racer, and I think boyfriend and I share differing opinions in a way that we can respect each other. When I go for a kart racer, I want the fast, frenetic, chaotic feeling of doing the drifts, having to dodge items, deflect them, unfortunately getting hit by them, doing tricks, getting boosts. The customization is off the charts with Sonic Racing. It kind of rivals Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which World took a step back in, and Sonic's just like, no, no, no. Hold my engine oil. We're going to go full customization, even with sub perks that you can apply to any vehicle you want via the gadget system.
Yeesh.
So, yeah. The mechanics are deeper, the racing is faster, and you could tell a lot of effort went into it. Um,
Welcome to our deep dive on Sonic Racing Crossworlds.
a
We're
subtopic of today's episode, apparently.
I like I said, I played the demo before it came out, but what I've been playing recently, I've been playing a lot of Hades 2 off stream just because
Hmm.
I'm very close to quote unquote beating the game.
Ooh.
And then on stream, I've been playing Sly Cooper 3 because I've been on a retro kick with the Sly Cooper series. So
Aw.
I beat Sly 1, I beat Sly 2 recently, and now I'm moving on to Sly 3. Um, which is, I want to say, the second uh, most disliked game in the franchise, with the number
Ooh.
one game being Sly 4 Thieves in Time, which I am going to play eventually. Um, so yeah, I've been playing that. I was playing Hades on stream as well as off stream. And I want to say that's been it. I don't think I've been doing too much gaming off stream except for, like I said, Hades, because you can play quick runs of that
Yeah.
game, it takes like maybe 30 minutes if you're, 30 minutes or less to go from, the beginning of one run to the end of it. So good stuff, good stuff. But
Hmm.
speaking of retro,
And playing games offline.
that brings us to our topic of today: arcades.
Remember those places, kids? Probably not, but there are a few. Way
But that's the
more.
thing. That's the thing, Grant. There was a huge arcade explosion back in the day. I remember
Oh yeah.
going to arcades that were in the mall. If you had a mall, chances are there was an arcade in it,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Where your
I have one of
parents
those too.
dropped you off while they did their mall shopping or whatever. At
Yep.
least my parents did. At
Oh,
least
mine
I
too.
begged my parents to do that.
Mine too.
Um, yeah. So, I would be like, 11, 12. Please, can I go to the arcade while you do whatever fucking shopping you need to do? Except I didn't say fucking because I was a little kid.
Right.
And I said it in a more respectful tone. But yeah, my mom would give me like $10 and be like, okay, that's it. No more after that. And then I would fucking go and play whatever game I wanted to. And it was
Yep.
amazing. Great times.
I had the same experience, and the one in my mall was actually connected to the food court. So my
Ooh.
parents got a double deal where at least with me, they knew I was kind of the responsible one. Like I could play games, I could get myself some pizza, then I could go back to play games and probably still have some quarters left somehow by the time they got back from all their shopping. Um, so yeah, that was just like the Northgate Mall, going to that arcade, hopping outside, getting some Sabaro, like a few slices, then going back in.
Is that how
Those
you
were the
pronounce
days.
that?
It's either Sbarro or Sabaro. I've heard either one.
Okay,
Um,
because I always thought it was Sparrow.
Sbarro. Yeah, that's how I used to say it. So any one of those three is probably valid. And Sbarro Pizza, if you're still around and you're hearing this, please correct us. Set the record straight.
They
Um,
are still around. I've been to a couple of malls and they still have one,
what?
in their food court. Yeah, it's
Oh my
crazy.
god!
It's crazy.
It is
Do you
still
remember do you
it.
remember the name of your arcade?
Oh god, no, I don't. I don't
You
even
don't
like.
remember?
No, because I always entered it from inside the mall, and it didn't have the name on that entrance. It only
That's
had the
weird.
name. It only had the name on the front side, which was outside of the mall, like through the
Mhm.
food court entrance. Like it was probably something Funland because a lot of the arcades in my area had Funland somewhere in the title. But I no idea. Like I just
I remember
remember
the name of mine arcades.
please.
The one that was in the mall was called Aladdin's Castle.
What?
Yes.
Oh
And
my
the only
god.
the only fucking thing that was like, Middle Eastern about it was that it had neon, like a neon Agrabah palace that led into it,
Of
right?
course. Of
Or no,
course.
no, no, sorry, sorry. It was Aladdin's Cave. Aladdin's Cave. But still,
Aladdin.
same fucking, like, palace on the outside, which didn't make any sense to me. But still, like, you'd go in there, you'd see the neon lights, you'd see the black lights, the really nasty looking carpet that had gum and soda and stuff sprayed
With
all
all the
over it.
stereotypical 90s pattern iconography, all
Oh my
that.
god, yeah. There was that one that was in the mall, and then there was another one that I absolutely loved going to because it had a carousel in it.
Aw, that's
It
adorable.
was Yeah, no, it was really cool. I remember going to that place and going on the carousel and then, seeing Dragon's Lair or The Simpsons, beat 'em up game, and then just, looking around, getting lost and having my parents scream after me.
Oh my
Good
god.
times, good times.
I've got a story about that, because back in the day, Las Vegas, Nevada was just as kid friendly as it was adult friendly because a lot of the resorts had things like kids clubs and arcades, and the MGM Grand had a zoo. But I remember being at the Luxor once on a trip in Las Vegas, and there was this giant arcade. It didn't even have a name to my knowledge, but what it did have, and that's what drew me in, was a giant Sonic the Hedgehog doing his finger wag above the front entrance, and a dedicated section in there for Sonic the Hedgehog games. Arcade ports of console games I've never played, or arcade exclusive games. And I just remember uh being like I just remember asking my dad to just like leave me in that section because I could play Sonic games forever, even as a kid, right? So I'm just staying there the whole time. And he's just like, okay, sure, here's your arcade money. But then for some reason, like 30 to 60 minutes later, I'm just playing Knuckles Chaotix because there was an arcade version of that at this arcade. 32X Genesis edition, like add-on game that still hasn't gotten a re-release. Arcade port, no modern re-release.
Wow.
But I was playing that, and then like 30 to 60 minutes later, my dad comes up in a frenzy. Where have you been? And I'm like, I've been right here where you told me I could stay.
Was your dad inebriated at the time?
Um, I was like 11 or 12, so I didn't know what an inebriated was. But in retrospect, probably a little. It is Las Vegas. And
Yeah.
yeah, my parents are no longer together. So that just tells you the state of that marriage. So probably on some level, he might have had to be. But I didn't know it at the time, if he
Mhm.
was or wasn't. But yeah, I could be lost in arcades for hours as a kid. It's the fact, and I think the biggest reason that they started to decline is because a lot of the games that we would see in arcades, like the Simpson beat 'em up, Mortal Kombat, Marvel versus Capcom. I mentioned the port of Knuckles Chaotix a few minutes ago. All of those games started to be released on home consoles when the Super Nintendo, the Sega Genesis, and like those two consoles were really starting to butt heads and clash.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
with players not having to go to an arcade and spend quarters to play those games exclusively, how you going to get your foot traffic?
Yeah, yeah. What was one of your favorite arcade games that you remember?
Honestly, my biggest arcade obsessions were games like The Simpsons beat 'em up, and
Mhm.
I was not necessarily good at it, but I loved me some pinball. Quite often you would
Pinball.
see me at pinball machines, you would see me at oh, I remember. I was also a big proponent of all of those like car racing ones with the steering wheels and the pedals.
Oh god,
It
I
could
hated
be
those games.
it could be Cruisin' USA, Cruisin' World, Daytona 500, didn't matter. Those racing games had my heart. In addition to like the licensed beat 'em ups or like the Marvel versus Capcoms.
Yes. So, you said you were a pinball fan, huh?
I was.
Did you
Still
know
am if I could get my hands on a machine. But
did you
continue.
know that pinball games, when they became popular around the 1930s, like right after the Great Depression, right,
Mhm.
were seen as gambling machines?
Well, it
That
certainly explains why there were pinball machines in Vegas, but continue. That's what?
So there was a lot of concerns when they first came out because the people thought that it was gambling disguised as a game.
Oh,
Uh,
man.
and of course, civic groups, churches, school boards, politicians argued that it led to juvenile delinquency, gambling habits, wasted money, school truancy, and moral decay. If you don't know what school truancy is, that means people playing hooky, basically.
Ooh,
Which if you
skipping
don't know
school to
what
play
that
video
means,
games. Ugh.
yeah, if you don't know what that means skipping school to do something else, right? Um, People even thought that it was tied to organized crime since a lot of the machines came from Chicago,
Wait,
which is
seriously?
yeah,
That
people
seems
thought
what? I'm sorry,
like
what?
I mean, hey, if you look at our political climate right now, if you are brown skinned, you will, be seen as an enemy of the state, apparently. But this isn't a political podcast, not a political podcast. So we're gonna
We're
leave it
we're
there,
other than comment on how backwards it all seems. Like,
right?
what? It's
So the original pinball didn't have flippers attached to it.
what?
So there were no flippers. So it was basically a game of chance because you would pull this plunger, the ball would go and bounce off of things. And because of that, it led to more
Oh.
belief that it was a gambling game, right? Uh, Apparently, in the 1960s, the Kennedy administration went after gambling style machines, adding to the pressure on these pinball machines. That's when they added flippers around that time to the game and
I
made
was
it
about to
more of a
say
skill based thing.
original pinball sounds like what we understand modern day as pachinko?
Yeah, kinda, and that is its own thing altogether.
Yeah.
Have huge
Huh.
parlors in Japan that are dedicated to this game, pachinko, which is a bunch of these little metal balls falling around and falling into holes or certain areas to gain points, money, whatever. But pinball back in the day was seen as a very bad thing that people were trying to outlaw and go against. And it's funny because they're doing that now with gotcha style games where
Oh,
a lot of
yeah.
politicians are trying to say these loot boxes and stuff, that's basically gambling for children, and we don't want it in our video games. I think a senator,
Microtransactions on kids' phones.
yeah,
How dare
right.
they? How
And
dare they?
there's a lot of that kind of stuff that's going on nowadays that like, mirrors the past. And that just brings to mind the whole like, we're doomed to repeat our history because we're not looking back at it, you know?
Exactly.
And
Like,
it strikes me as just stupid. Um
innovation is fine and all, but at what cost, people?
mhm,
Come
mhm.
on.
But I remember going to arcades back in the day, playing games, spending time there, spending so many quarters,
Oh my god.
to play these games. Uh, so we talked about your favorite, games, the
Yes.
pinball games and all that. My favorite games were the fighting games, and you could tell because I'm wearing my Street
Oh
Fighter
my
related
god.
shirt right now, which is a collaboration between Street Fighter and All Elite Wrestling, which is the other
Ooh.
main promotion in the US for pro wrestling. So my favorite games were fighting games. Like, I love going to the arcade and watching these dudes play these fighting games, these crazy, blood-filled, violent fighting games. You had Mortal Kombat, you had Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom, Marvel Superheroes, which was, the predecessor to Marvel vs. Capcom.
Hmm.
Um, and then you also had gun games. Loved gun games. House
Oh,
of
the time crises, that sort of thing?
is, Area 51, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, like all these arcade games, and the coolest thing about the gun games for me, especially in Time Crisis 2, was the introduction of the foot pedal that lets you pop out of cover. Do you
Oh.
remember those?
I so that's what that was. I never
Yeah,
really
you would.
played those gun games all that well,
Oh, man,
and
I
I
love
did,
those games.
like
They were the most expensive ones, though.
well, of course, all the prop guns, the big graphics, the giant machines. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Oh, man, it was so good. Like, you'd have your gun, right? And, they built these guns to where, the gun would recoil whenever you shot somebody.
Hmm.
Which was so fucking cool. I remember watching it and, like, being like, "Man, this is so cool," and then, like, you'd step on the pedal to pop out of cover so you could shoot somebody, and they had different modes too, so you could, like, use both player screens
Oh
and
my
one of the
god.
pedals to play. Man, it was so epic. Um, I have very fond memories of spending, fucking laundry money, in these arcades instead of using it for laundry, you know?
Yep.
Um,
Ugh,
but
those were the days.
another game, I know, right? Another game that I loved to play, but just because I was fucking competitive in nature, was and fighting games weren't competitive enough for me.
Oh, of course not.
It was
Match.
Yeah, right? It was air hockey.
How could I forget about arcade air hockey? It was so fun.
I
Ah,
fucking loved air hockey. Air hockey was such a fucking rush because you would be playing and, like, you had different ways to hold the paddle to make it, like, go faster or whatever. You could hold on to
yep.
the thing and then just kinda swing it, which was okay, but if you really wanted speed, you'd use your 2 fingers and put them on the inside of the cup, or 3
Yes.
fingers and then just kinda flick it to get more of a hit. Man, the
And if you
satisfying sound of it bouncing and then getting into the fucking goal area. Oh.
one of the things I used to do was taking that 2 or 3 finger grip on the inside, and
Mhm,
not so much a flick, but you would
mhm.
see the entire arc of the paddle thing. Like, you would see the entire semicircle movement, and I would do that to make the puck bounce off of the sides, and I
Yeah.
remember getting so many goals by doing that kind of shot, bamboozling my opponent and making them accidentally hit the puck backwards into their goal.
Fucking math.
Ugh. And to think I was
Like,
not a math kid.
I wasn't a math kid either, but you were fucking like, you felt like fucking mathematician Jones when you were fucking, flicking that puck and bouncing it off of the wall. Like, oh, if I bounce it here at this point, the trajectory will take it, cosine, trigonometry, take it into the goal or whatever. And here's me
According to
not
my
using fucking math
calculations,
terms. I
bouncing the
know.
puck off the walls will make it go in by some fluke, either by my skill shot or my opponent's chicanery.
Oh my god, that was, like, the best. That was the best fucking feeling, playing air hockey with my siblings, because 'cause I'd always fucking trounce them, always, and it would be the whole, like, big brother, mentality, like, "Maybe when you're older, kid," you know? As I'd s as I'd, like, beat my siblings into submission with it, you
Oh,
know?
I was the one who kind of reversed that on my older brother. He was really the competitive one. I was just like, I
Mhm.
just want to have fun, okay? So whenever I would beat him in a game, it would just be like, yeah, you said you were gonna win. What happened with that? I didn't say it exactly that way, but that's the attitude I carried.
Right,
And
right.
and of course, older brother was like, beginner's luck. It was a fluke. Excuses when when it was anything except like a physical activity or a contact sport. I tended to be the winner of those things, and he just didn't
Mhm.
like it.
Mm, mm. So, we've talked a lot about our memories of arcades.
Yeah.
When did you stop going to arcades, though?
I really stopped going to arcades. I mean, well, if you count the arcade at the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk,
Oh,
um,
man, I miss that place.
ugh, so many memories. If you
I
count
know.
that, if you count that, I didn't really stop going to arcades until after college. partially just because I haven't really seen many of them around.
Yeah.
And a lot of them were, tied to a lot of the ones that were around after as I was graduating or after I graduated college, were tied to bars or other avenues where you used to consume alcohol. So you kind of had to be of drinking age to even go and access them, unless you were clearly there as a child or dependent with someone of actual age. So
Wait, they allowed kids into these bars?
no, like I'm talking about places like Dave and Buster's, that sort of vibe, where
Okay,
you
yeah,
can
yeah,
only where you
Dave& and
can only
Buster's,
go to
yeah.
the arcade section. Um, if you are underage, you can only go to the
Mhm.
arcade section with a legal guardian or someone of legal drinking age, or at least that's how it was back in the
Whereas
day.
whereas Chuck E. Cheese, you can only go to Chuck E. Cheese if you're with a child. You cannot go to Chuck E. Cheese if you are a lonely adult. Doesn't matter how fucking cheap their pizza is, they will not let you in. They will ask you where your child is. Not
Oh
that I
my
know this from
god.
experience, mind you, but
Oh, of
still.
course not. You can just recount the story so accurately based off of Reddit posts. You don't know this at
That's
all.
exactly it. That's exactly it. I've never been to Chuck E. Cheese without a
Wait,
child.
really?
So
Oh, without a
yeah,
child. Okay.
without a child, yes. I've
Okay.
been to Chuck E. Cheese as a child, which, fucking crazy place in itself, where, Five Nights at Freddy's got its inspiration from,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is a game we talked about, in one of our previous episodes.
Oh,
But
the
it's
Halloween episode.
crazy. Yeah, it's crazy that arcades have just, like, kind of dipped in popularity, so much so that, I wanna say a little before the pandemic or maybe after the pandemic, because, the pandemic happened and we're still
Right.
kind of in the aftermath of it, where this huge, almost, um, almost, world-threatening virus kind of, took its toll on a bunch of businesses, arcades being one of the big ones
Oh,
because,
yeah.
social distancing and, arcades were usually very cramped spaces where you would, be shoulder to shoulder with people playing these games or whatever. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, like there was an arcade, like a famous arcade in Chinatown in New York that got shut down. That was very sad because it was one of those mainstays of New York. I lived in New York for a stint, and I never got to go to the place, unfortunately. But I heard when it shut down, everybody was just distraught over it because it was such a piece of their core memories when they were a kid. Um,
Yeah.
and it's weird because the pandemic not only shut down a bunch of arcades, but it kind of also brought, I would say, maybe a second renaissance of arcades, because you
Hmm.
started getting barcades where,
Yep.
you'd have a bunch of people drinking, playing these games that they remembered back in the day,
Yep.
like Galaga, Joust,
I went to one
Space
in
Invaders.
I went to one in, I went to one called the One Up. It's where I used to live for a while, and, or it's near where I used to live for a while. Yeah, me living in a barcade, lol, imagine that. But, it's near where I used to live, and they literally had, like, this I swear it was taken from, like, a gaming collection and a software setup that you could only get by sailing the 7 seas, if you catch my
Ah,
drift, because
mhm,
you could literally select from, like, 200 different classic games, from Super Mario Kart, Competitive Mario Brothers, Donkey Kong, like the OG Donkey Kong, Street Fighter,
mhm.
Pac-Man, Ms. Pac-Man, Galaga, all of those. Just yeah.
Good
Yeah.
times.
It
The
brought me
the
back
the
to when I was
times,
a
right?
ugh, it brought me back to when I was a little kid playing with that one, and I had,
And
like, a
I think
rum and
that's
coke in my hand, and I'm just like and I'm like, "Have I really aged, or is that the rum in this glass?"
well, that's the thing, right? Like, these places are making a comeback because of that nostalgia factor.
Mhm.
Most of these games that are released in arcade, have been, released via console ports.
Right.
Um, so you have these games that were only available in arcade, suddenly make the jump to consoles, and that started the decline of these arcades, because you had Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. These were arcade only games. And when
Yup.
they made the jump to consoles, that's kind of when you started getting the people dropping off of going to arcades, because most people had a console system, which
Yep.
is, very much what attributed to the collapse of these mainstay arcades. So you have all of these great games that were in the arcade that you had to pump in quarters, but now you just have to buy the game and you don't have to put in quarters anymore. You just have to play it at home. And
Yeah.
you miss the experience of going somewhere and experiencing that, like, playing a random stranger at Street Fighter to see who's the best, you know? That was a fun time, and something that has been kind of emulated through online, gaming and fight tournaments and such.
Kind of, I would
It's
argue
not
it's like,
the same.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's
It
similar. It's similar.
it gets you that vibe, but as somebody who has always been like, even when I was younger, I always valued the in-person experience, that in-person
Mhm,
connection better. Like,
mhm.
when I see somebody, I'm able to give them a hug, look into their eyes to get a sense of their facial expression. Even through a screen, it doesn't have that same effect with me. So,
Of
yeah,
course.
online gaming can replicate it to an extent, but it's never gonna be the same. But
No.
then you get, with this resurgence like you're talking about, you get console only games or mobile only games making the jump to arcade machines in these modern
Right.
takes of arcades. So it's kind of going full circle in a way.
Mhm, mhm.
Like the arcade games go into consoles, which are going back to arcades with new details, which are going to come back to consoles because it's easy to backport now because technology. It like I cannot tell you the cognitive, let's just say my brain was trying to do some sort of weird logistical dance when I was in a Sega branded arcade in Japan. Saw nothing Sonic, but I saw a Luigi's Mansion arcade cabinet for the first time.
That's
Like,
crazy.
right? Just I like and it like it's basically one of those gun games. Now that I think about it, it did actually have that pedal, but it wasn't for coming out of cover. It was for something else. You literally had a Poltergust 9000 gun that you
That's
held,
awesome.
pulled a trigger to suck up ghosts. You hit the pedal for something, I forget what it was, but there was also a button on top for like a super skill,
Ooh.
which I don't think any of the console games of Luigi's Mansion had that. So, and
So
need
what
need
what
we
other
talk about
crazy
Mario
games?
Kart GP?
Oh god.
Yeah, Mario
I
Kart GP. 1, 2,
yeah,
and DX.
did you what other crazy games, 'cause you've been to Japan, I have not been to Japan. What
Yes.
other crazy, arcade-only games did you see out there? Because 'Cause I've seen
Oh
video
my
of crazy
god.
arcade games, and I recall that there was an arm wrestling, arcade game that was at my arcade, which was, you'd put your arm there, and there would be this mechanical arm, and
Yep,
you would play against different guys, that were in different, stages of musculature. Uh, it was a fantastic fun game, and you'd be trying to play it, and there's no way, because you're a little kid struggling against this fucking machine, basically. Um, that's the one that I remember most vividly in terms of games that were not your
right.
typical arcade games. We've all seen the punching machine,
Yes,
right?
the punching
That
machine.
exactly, or the love meter or whatever. You've seen
And
that
then,
one,
of
right?
course, the giant crane games with plushies that are about as big as me.
The
Um,
UFO
the
catcher games and all
oh, the
that.
giant UFO catchers. I can only say to the speak to the one arcade building I was in Japan, but the
Mhm.
standouts because Japan apparently handles arcades much differently than we did in the did in the West. Like,
Mhm.
they are a place for people to go just to chill after work, and
Mhm.
they go by like payment cards or activity cards or something like that. Something that
Mhm.
more modern arcades like the Dave and Buster's and stuff out here are adopting slowly.
Mhm.
Because people go in there, like they get beers, they have ashtrays for their cigarettes, and they can play boatloads of digital games. Like there was a horse jockey game that was like on a two-screen deal. One screen was on like the desktop.
Uh-huh.
Tons, and I mean tons of Gundam style mech battle games. I remember
Oh.
seeing one where there was like this specific round seat that you had to get into, build a mech from scratch, and then like kind of like how I'm sitting now with pedals and levers and buttons on the levers to fire your weaponry like that. They take arcades to a whole new level in Japan. My God.
I wish I could see, like, those crazy, setups that they have for some arcade machines out there. I do remember seeing some videos of, like, uh, a table flipping game where
I
hear
feel
me
like
out
you
on this.
probably passed it, but still, what?
It would be a game where you would be sitting at a table, right? And you'd
Mhm.
be sitting with your family, your virtual family, and they'd be
Right, right.
talking. Suddenly the siblings would start fighting and you'd, I guess, be the dad in the family or whatever. So
Mhm.
they would be, talking, fighting amongst each other. Your wife would be saying some stuff, and like your rage meter would be building. And then by the time it got to the top of it, you would have to flip this table that you were sitting on as hard as you could, and it would
Oh.
calculate your score. I've always wanted to play it just because
Oh
who doesn't want to
god!
fucking flip a table and,
You get
play,
points for it!
be a game. I know. There was another one where you were like, there was like it was a the I guess the controller was like a huge, corgi or cat butt, and you would just have to
I've
slap it
heard
as
about
hard and as
this.
fast as you could. I've never played it. I've only seen a small video of it, but it looked hilarious.
Yup. I've only seen the cat butt ones and the videos I saw. You saw my cat come in and out of this room a few times during the
Mhm.
recording, so naturally algorithms decide to feed me cat parent content. So there is apparently a cat convention called CatCon where they had one of these games on display, and that's where I saw it played for the first time. And I'm just like, how do you get points from this? What if you're playing as a cat who doesn't like to get hit on the butt? Are you losing points? Like,
Mm.
what's going on? Also, a giant,
Meow.
yeah, meowch, more like, is what that cat's saying. Because, why are you hitting me on my butt, Dad? That's what Tango would do if I was doing that to him. He does not like that. Um, but yeah, I don't know how you gain points, lose points, if it's just for serotonin for cat owners. I don't know. But I mean, I've seen some pretty crazy gaming controllers in my day. The bongos for the DK Bongo series is chief among them. But I think
Yeah,
Cat Butts is probably the craziest controller out there, hands down.
and then, they have the taiko drumming games too, that
Oh,
they've gone
yeah.
from arcade to console and all that. So you have this, like, I guess, this ever feeding, into each other, Ouroboros kinda snake situation where you have an arcade game that becomes really popular and then it goes to console, or you have a console game or a mobile game that gets really popular and then they're like, let's monetize this and throw it into the arcades. For
Yep.
example, Fruit Ninja.
I was
The
about to
fucking
say.
mental gymnastics that my brain was fucking doing to explain that Fruit Ninja was at this Dave and Buster's,
Yep.
it was too much. My brain kind of shut off for a moment going, "What the fuck am I even looking at?"
You know what other mobile game made it to arcades, which is a shocker because I don't even think it's on mobile anymore. Flappy Bird. There
Oof.
is a
Flappy Bird,
Flappy
Cut the
Bird.
Rope.
Yep.
all of
Oh
these,
my
like,
god.
mobile games, and they're not used for high scores, they're used to get people to pay for them so that they can get tickets to get prizes in their arcade. Did your arcade have that, by the way?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. I
What did you
never really
win?
I never really played the ticket games. The most ticket heavy game I played was Skee Ball, but I
Ah,
was
skee
terrible.
ball.
Um,
Mhm.
so I only ever had enough tickets after maybe a few sessions to get like a pencil or a nerdy eraser. But now at the Dave and Buster's near me, you can straight up circumnavigate the need to win tickets and just buy using real money like a real world microtransaction. Buy the number of tickets you want for the thing you want in the ticket shop.
Really?
Yep.
Why don't you just go buy it, like, somewhere else? That would probably be a lot cheaper than spending tickets on it.
Because I mean, and maybe I could be wrong. I don't know. I think I saw like I saw an original Nintendo Switch and some console in the Xbox series as prizes at this Dave and Buster's. Oh, and I also saw, and this is what got me to really pay attention to this, a Sonic the Hedgehog waffle maker. It was one of the ticket prizes. And I just remember like being able to spend enough tickets to pay like $40 out of pocket for this waffle maker. And I'm like, should I just buy this online? Should I just buy
At
this online?
I mean, at that point, you should just get it there.
Right. D-
Did you?
I haven't gotten it yet just because with the weight loss thing I'm on, I haven't had the need to make waffles. But,
Grant,
um,
have you not heard of chaffles?
that sounds like a bad take on your legs chafing when you walk. What's a chaffle?
Chaffles are waffles that you make using egg and cheese instead of flour. So they come out savory. You can put any kind of vegetable or meat in them. So they are for sure low carb, high in protein. You can add other things to it to make them more fibrous as well.
Hmm.
How
I
have
have
you not heard of this fad?
well, because I rarely hear of fads while they're relevant. It's just a curse of my existence. But chaffles, you say?
Yes.
Savory egg and cheese waffles.
Yes, you put, like, maybe a little bit of almond flour maybe or something of that nature. You have to have some kind of binder, right?
Right, to make
But
it at
you
least a little batter like.
yes, but you don't use as much, so these things end up being more protein than they are carb.
Okay.
So you can still stay on your weight loss journey, but you could also have this Sonic the Hedgehog
Hedgehog
waffle
savory
maker.
chaffles. Okay.
Wait, is the waffle maker Sonic head shaped?
It's not Sonic Head shaped, but it's
Missed
like
opportunity.
kind
Missed
of.
opportunity.
It's not the only like Sonic brand kitchen appliance I've ever heard of. Because
Mhm.
like with the Sonic the Hedgehog toaster, because yes, there's one of those.
Oh my
What it is you basically make the waffle regularly, but there is a Sonic's head imprinted on the waffle, just like there is a Sonic's head imprinted on the piece of bread when it is toasted.
okay, maybe that makes a bit more sense to me. Instead of, like, having it completely Sonic shaped, because it would be a nightmare to clean up for sure. Um,
Not depending on your method, not so much and what it's made of, but
you're trying to justify it?
hey, you know what? Character silhouette waffles aren't the strangest thing ever. Mickey waffles at the Disney parks, they kind of prove that already. Um,
Sure. So
yeah.
that would you say that if you were to go back there and get it, that would be the most, crazy item you've ever gotten from one of those?
Yes, that would be the most crazy item I would have gotten from a ticket shop if I decided to spend the money or win the tickets to get that Sonic the Hedgehog waffle maker. But
The
I could also just buy it
craziest
online, so
You can. The craziest thing that I've ever gotten was a PlayStation Move bundle.
what?
Yes. Back when the PlayStation
Phew.
Move was a thing, that was the thing that I got. I had figured out a way. I was really good at, like, that game where you have, that light spinning around the circle and you have to stop it at a cer
Yeah.
yes, that was my game, and I was so good at it that I was able to get a ton of points, accumulate a ton of points necessary to get all of these tickets to buy that thing. So I got it for less than I would have gotten it if I had paid for it retail.
Wow.
That
That's
was the
crazy.
craziest thing. That's why I said it was the craziest thing that I've gotten. So,
Oh my god.
yeah, there's so many arcades, that have come and gone during our lifetime, Grant. From our
Yeah.
childhood arcades, and that's the saddest fucking feeling when you go to your local arcade and it's no longer there, or it's boarded up, or it's been, graffitied or whatever. Like, that's a bad feeling all around.
It really
But
is.
there's a lot of new places that have popped up. Like you said, Dave& and Buster's is another arcadey type space that doesn't have that same classic arcade feel because it's mostly ticket games, right?
Yep.
But then you have places like, Barcades. The one local to us here is called, Coin Op, and it's a bar, and of course you have a bunch of arcade machines. You have basketball three throw games, you have skee ball, you have a motorcycle riding game, you have all of those kind of cool games that you had back when you were a kid, but now because you're an adult and have adult money, you can play these games and get drunk at the same time.
Which will get you to spend more money because your inhibitions are locked away. Hooray!
And that's where they get you.
Yep.
But you also have other places like you said, you went to Japan. Was the place that you went to Round 1? Was that what it was called?
No, the place I went to was just literally Sega Arcade Tower 1 because there are 4, or there were 4, one of them unfortunately closed. So now
Mhm.
there are 3 giant 6-story towers that are dedicated to playing arcade games.
And there are a lot of places, like that in Japan. I think Round 1 is one of the places where you have different floors dedicated to different aspects of an arcade. You have a
Hmm.
floor dedicated to gotcha machines.
Yep.
You have a floor dedicated to the UFO catcher games, which is those crane games. You have a floor dedicated to fighting games,
The mech
bowling.
games, the traditional arcade games are on their own floor. And the top floor of the one I was in, you just reminded me, was actually these more like interactive experiences. Like it's a 3D soccer defense, like a soccer game where you have to actually kick a ball against a screen to try to score goals. Or it's a Western shootout game where you have to hide behind cover and then like shoot targets on the screen.
Mhm.
One of them literally had a small laser tag room because laser tag is an arcade game now.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it's like I've never actually been to a round one, but I know there is one somewhat close to me. I I'll have to check and look into it to see if it's more than one floor because I think the
Yeah, I
round
don't
one
know if
near
the ones
me
over
is only
here. Yeah, I
okay.
think the ones around here are, like, just 1 floor, but they
Got it.
definitely scream out that old arcade style vibe.
Yeah.
There's one out here that I haven't gone to, but I hope to go to, sometime soon, maybe have it be the kiddo's first arcade experience, but because I'm
Oh,
pretty sure he has ADHD, he will be way overstimulated and either ask to leave immediately or I would lose him. And both of those scenarios are not pleasing to me in the slightest.
understandable. Yeah.
But yeah, I miss arcades. I miss going to them. I miss, the whole experience of it. And I guess that's what the arcade is all about now. It's
Yeah.
not about playing the fanciest, newest, funnest thing. It's about going back to a simpler time when you were just, a kid who wanted to
Yep.
play a game and have fun and interact with something that you didn't know about.
And be there with people that you love in the same room to get that person to person, face to face interaction. It may not be related to an arcade, but it's still one of the fondest gaming moments I have ever had. It was right around my birthday. This story, but it was like forever and a day ago, long before you and I even met.
Mhm.
Um, I was at a Best Buy shopping for a gift for somebody else whose birthday we were celebrating because my friend group
Mhm.
had like 4 September birthdays back to back to back. Mine was first. The kid I was shopping for, his was last. That
Mm.
same kid had a similar idea, was going to Best Buy to get my birthday present. So our parents basically threw us near a Nintendo GameCube and were like, "Hey, play games, we're going to talk." And we're just like, "Okay." Sonic Adventure 2 Battle was at one of the kiosks there, right? Just like playable
Mhm.
for people to walk by. Um
Sure.
I was waiting in line to play around against my friend. But the two guys in front of us, super competitive. Just like they were metagaming Sonic Adventure 2 before I even knew what a metagame was. And also
Mm.
that Sonic Adventure 2 had a metagame. News to me. Um, but after they were playing their round, they wanted to challenge each other again. I'm just like, okay, that's cool. We can wait. My friend has the mouth to chime in and say, no way. Grant here, he could kick both your butts, no matter who you pick. Just try him. And I'm like, did you really have to egg them on? So I end up being thrown in there. Metagaming expert uses Metal Sonic, who slightly faster in Sonic Adventure 2 than regular Sonic, but has no special attacks and a defensive move that hardly worked. Meanwhile, I was regular Sonic. We played a
Mhm.
level with a giant loop. I did a spin dash over that loop because I knew it was faster. I knocked him off the loop, bought like a 10-second lead, won the race, and both of those guys just left pissed off. So
There
I look at my friend and he's like, "See, I told you." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, you were right, but did you have to tick them off? Really?"
I don't know, man. Like that is the best kind of arcade story slash memory where you take on somebody who is so fucking like, egotistical. They're like the best player at this game, or they have a line of people that's waiting behind to get next. And they have, they used to place quarters on the machine,
Yup.
like for fighting games or whatever. But like when you were up against the top player, the king of that machine, and you take them out, man, what a fucking rush. Especially if you have a crowd of people around you and they're fucking cheering you on. That is an amazing feeling. And
Yeah.
Evo, which is the fighting game tournament that's been going on
Mm-hmm.
for years
Mm-hmm.
now, kind of brings that same arcade kind of mentality when you have these people playing these fighting games against each other, because you have people that understand the game,
Yup.
understand the mechanics, the hitboxes, the moves
The frame
that give you
data,
an
the
iframe,
invincibility
all that stuff.
frames. Oh god.
And it brings to mind that old school, like, I got next kind of mentality. It's
Yup.
fantastic. And I miss that feeling. Um, I try to replicate it by playing these competitive games with other people, like Smash or Mario Kart or whatever, or Sonic Racing if I ever get it. So these games that we play, these competitive games that we play, tie back to those memories back in the arcade.
Yeah.
I think at least, and
I could
it's
definitely see that.
it's
It
one of those things that will continue onwards. The arcade
mm,
the arcade that we have in our hearts will be the one that will always be there as long as we have that competitive edge.
even if the building is not there to match, the arcade is in our hearts.
The arcade was the gift we, what w
The
God damn it, I
arcade
fucked
was
up
the
that
game
thing.
we played along the way.
That's the one, thank you, thank you. That
Speaking of
being
games
said,
though, you have
are
a
you
game for
ready?
us to wrap things up, right?
Are you ready for our game, Grant?
Sure, let's play a game.
This is a true fact or fiction for arcades.
Fact or fiction? Okay.
Fact or fiction. I'm going to give you a couple of games, or I'm going to give you a couple of questions, and you're going to tell me if they are arcade fact or arcade fiction.
All right.
All right. Question one: Pac Man was designed to appeal to women because it was based around eating instead of fighting. Fact or fiction?
My gut is telling me fiction, and I hope I'm right.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
It is a fact. Toru Iwatani wanted to create a game less focused on violence.
I mean, okay, I get that part, but I I just don't see the correlation to like, okay, we want less violence. Let's make a game about eating. That'll appeal to women. I don't get the logic leap there. I really don't because everybody loves to eat. Hello?
Very true. Very true. The original Street Fighter II cabinets had motion sensors in the joysticks to detect how fast you moved. Fact or fiction?
I See, that's tough because arcade machines back in the day were kind of the pioneers of new tech that would eventually be brought over to console games. So I'm going to say that that's a fact.
Final answer?
Yep.
It is fiction. They were just
Um,
regular digital joysticks, no motion sensors involved.
of course.
So far 0 for 2.
I did better with the wrestling moves, and I know nothing about that. Sheesh.
Next question. The Donkey Kong arcade board actually includes unused sound effects for Mario talking.
Oh God, now I'm
Fact
second
or
guessing
fiction?
everything. I'm second guessing everything. Um, I am knowing what I think I know about Nintendo, and it's always like wanting to innovate and do the quirky things before they catch on. I am going to call that a fact again. Final
Final
answer.
answer? All right. Fiction. There's
Oh
no
my!
voice data on the board that came years later on newer consoles.
Of course it did. 0 for 3.
Galaga's dual ship feature was actually a programming accident that became intentional. Fact or fiction?
That sort of thing happens a lot. Accidental bugs becoming features retroactively. Why am I? And again, my score is preventing me from guessing anything with conviction right now. Um, I'm like because I've seen that happen. I want to call it a fact. I do,
Okay.
but yeah, let's call it a fact. See how wrong I am. Let's go.
It is a fact.
Hooray! I got one.
The concept started as a glitch idea in development and was kept because players loved it.
Good on
Final
Galaga.
question. Final question.
Final question.
Asteroids has no limit to how many times the screen can wrap around. The game Asteroids has no limit to how many times the screen can wrap around.
I mean, when I play Asteroids, that's how it feels. So that's why I want to say it's a fact. But I'm also fairly certain that there is some sort of programming design choice in the game that makes
Mhm.
it so it's like, oh, it's not infinitely wrapping around. It's just one screen that you're, constantly wrapping through because it's just the way the game is programmed. So I'm going to say that one is fiction.
You are correct. It is a fiction. It only tracks a certain coordinate range before repeating. It's just
Uh,
seamless.
All right. So I got a couple there. Two
You
out.
got 2 out of 5.
Hey, you know what? I was expecting 0 with my early game performance, so I will take that. I will take that.
Do you wanna do a round 2 or not?
You know what? Why
To
not?
redeem your horrible score?
I could either redeem my horrible score or make it worse. You might even
That's
call it
very
a
true.
you might even call it a gamble, like gotcha machines or pinball. Um,
Early pinball.
Early pinball, yes. Um, Still, why not? Let's do
Okay,
it.
alright. The ghosts in Pac-Man have unique personalities and movement patterns, not random AI.
That is a fact. I've heard that confirmed elsewhere.
That is a fact. Each ghost follows specific rules. Blinky chases, Pinky ambushes, Inky mirrors, and Clyde wanders. Space Invaders was originally designed to include humans, but the hardware couldn't handle it.
I want to say that's a fact as well. I want to say that's a fact as well.
It is a fact. The creator replaced humans with aliens to simplify the graphics. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game only existed because Konami lost the Ghostbusters license.
Oh man, the mini will be disappointed if I get this one wrong. But I have no idea. I don't know the history behind that arcade game, but uh
Fact
repeat
or
the question.
fiction?
Repeat the question again.
The TMNT arcade game only existed because Konami lost the Ghostbusters license. Fact or fiction?
Oh God, I'm trying to remember if there's a. I seem to remember a Ghostbusters arcade game, but I'm trying to
Mhm.
remember who the developer is. Um, so I'm gonna say that one's a fiction.
You are correct. It was a separate
Whew.
licensed project, though Konami did make a Ghostbusters game around that time.
Okay, so that is the one I remembered. Okay.
Okay. I'm going to give you 2 from the tricky section.
Oh no. Just when I was redeeming my score.
I know. So, so far, I mean, you've got 3, sorry, uh, you got all of the second round questions
So
right
I've got like 5 out of 8 right now.
so far. So
Okay.
far. All right. In Japan, Virtua Fighter machines reported player stats across different arcades through phone lines.
Hmm. I mean, that's something I could believe. It's a bit of a stretch comparison, but back in the day, for the original Pokemon Crystal, you could get an event that gave you a GS ball, which allowed you to catch a legitimate Celebi only through a phone line slash phone based connection.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna call that a fact.
You are correct. It is a fact. Sega experimented with this in the mid 90s. It was an early version of online leaderboards.
Hmm. All right then.
Nice. Nice. Nice.
Thank you, useless Pokemon knowledge. You actually came in handy.
Okay, here you go. Here's the last question, and it's going to be a sports question.
Oh Lord. Just all right.
The NBA Jam announcer secretly favored the Chicago Bulls. Their shots were slightly more accurate. Fact or fiction?
Okay, wait. So the NBA Jam announcer
Mhm.
favored the Chicago Bulls because they were sorry, Tango's scratching at the chair.
Gotcha.
Because they're slightly more accurate?
Their shots were slightly more accurate.
I feel like
And
that's a
I'm gonna give you a big hint here. Because these are trickier questions, they may be fact, they may be fiction, or they might be facts or fiction, sort of.
I was gonna say, I feel like this is a sort of, because while I can understand in game the announcer giving more praise to the Chicago Bulls
Mhm,
because their shots were more accurate, I don't know that that's an announcer in game thing that they have control over. I feel
mhm.
like that would be Tango, you are not going there. You are waving to the podcast instead. Hey buddy. Anyway, um he was about to step on the power button to the computer, and that would not have been good. Um, but yeah, I think that is I think that's what I'm going to call a sort of, because it would have to be on the programmers of that iteration of NBA Jam to know the stats and the possible accuracy increase due to Michael Jordan if it was in that era. It would be on the programmers to make their shots more accurate, and it would be on the developers telling the announcer voice to give that team more praise because of the developer's decision to make the shots more accurate.
So, you are correct. It is sort of a fact. The devs coded in small biases for certain teams, including the
Aha!
Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, you got, all
8
of
out of 10, I
the
think.
yeah, I think you got most of these the second round anyway, correct. So, that's not
Wow.
bad. You
All
did very
right.
poorly the first round, but you made up with it for the second round.
It's the inverse of the wrestling move game where I did really well up front and then just kind of petered out. Oh my
That's our
god.
game. That's our show. We enjoyed talking about our arcade memories, and we
Yeah.
hope that this discussion brought back fond memories of arcades for you. And if not, maybe you'll be looking to make some new ones at your local barcade or entertainment center like Round One near you.
If you do have a fond arcade memory from the lands of the past, let us know in the comments of wherever you're seeing this, because it's always nice to find other people who can share our nostalgia and fondness for that classic arcade experience. Or if you've
Hmm,
been to a
hmm,
Round
hmm.
One or a Dave and Buster's or some other arcade that we don't even know about that we might want to investigate, let us know about that too. Because if arcades really are on the rise again, please tell us. We're craving that nostalgic experience. And with that, and making the donut chuckle, I have been Grant Patrizio.
And I have been Senor Donut.
Good night, everybody.